without further ado, welcome to Impactful Billionaires. It's the relaunch of Series 7. And our special guest tonight, obviously, is Michelle Mills-Porter, who is the people reader, whoop whoop, I hear you say in the background, and survived a tsunami and has gone on to really help lots of people with her profiling, and also
scored again.
Pardon? And yeah, so she has really gone on to help people and, you know, make a difference and an impact in other people's lives, which is just brilliant. So we're really welcome, Michelle. It's lovely to have you here tonight with Nyasha Kweditso, who obviously is our Impactful Billionaire as well. So Impactful Billionaires, I hear you say, it's not about having millions or billions in the bank. It's about the ripple effect. So without further ado, I'm going to ask the next question. So, hello, Michelle.
All right.
As if we haven't really been talking and having the worst tech issues going, but yeah.
I don't know what you're saying, we. I mean, you know, Nyasha and I were sitting here watching you just melt. It was definitely your responsibility.
We've been doing nothing.
So here we are now anyway, but it's good to have everybody here tonight. So thanks for coming. I know you've all probably got questions to ask Michelle and Nyasha, but the question that I actually asked last week ahead of tonight was, how did you find your purpose? So Michelle, how did you find your purpose?
Well, I think, to be honest, I think my purpose found me. Is that normal? Because I thought I was living my life on purpose. I thought that everything, you know, when I was CEO of Fizzbang Marketing, this multi-award winning company that I'd started from scratch, we were, you know, the youngest company in the country to gain investors in people. And I thought, this is it. This is what I'm designed to do. This is what I'm meant to do. And it wasn't until I was caught in a tsunami, and that was a huge smash. And it was like, sorry, Olga's coming in now. Olga can't find the Zoom link, so I'm just going to forward the Zoom link to her as well. So it was a little bit like the pandemic. What happened in the pandemic is very similar to what happened to me in the tsunami. It's when you're in the face of adversity, and suddenly, because the whole world has turned upside down, you are almost recalibrated. Your core values are recalibrated, and you suddenly think, oh my gosh, this might not be the right path, because there are other things that are suddenly important to you. And when all of a sudden your whole world goes upside down, and you think, actually, I'm not worried about my customers. I'm not worried about my sales targets. I'm not worried about my 14 staff. That's not important to me. What I care about is, you know, playing Scrabble with my mum and dad, and eating Sunday lunch at Stu's mum and dad's, and having her roast potatoes, and playing with my nieces and nephews. And those things suddenly become so much more important that you think, what am I doing? And it enables you to reevaluate things. And that's how I found my purpose. I suddenly realized that I didn't have any desire to do what I thought I wanted to do. And instead I was being pulled in a different direction, which was all about the charity we'd created, about putting roofs over people's heads, about, you know, finding orphans, new foster carers, and all those things became massively important to me, and it just took over my life. So my purpose drew me in. It's like my values showed up and my purpose called me, not the other way around. I didn't find it.
So did you find that challenging at all though, Michelle? Because, you know, although you say, you know, you found this wonderful purpose, which is, you know, very worthy, obviously, but did you sort of struggle with that in any way, or was it, did you just have a feeling of peace?
I don't think I did. I think, if I'm honest, the feeling when I was suddenly caught in the tsunami, and all of a sudden the wheels fell off, and, you know, the engine wasn't working anymore, and we were sitting down, the feeling of relief was huge. That's a teller, isn't it? When I suddenly thought, oh my God, there's nothing I can do about it, that's the first time in my life that I hadn't been 100% in charge and 100% responsible. So for something else to be responsible, it was just like, whew, that's off my shoulder. I've just got to sit here and ride the wave. There's nothing else I can do. And it was so liberating in some ways. I mean, of course, don't get me wrong. It was the most horrific time of my life. There was so much trauma and so much horrible stuff. But when it comes to what do I do for a living, that's not at the top of the list, you know. So, yeah, I didn't find it that hard. What I did find hard was trying to get back on the hamster wheel. That's when I tried to go back to work, and, you know, I tried to go back and do everything that I was doing before, and I found myself being physically violently sick every morning before work. The doctors kept saying it was some kind of GERD disease and, you know, horrendous reflux and stuff like that. I like to think it was my body saying, you ought to phone in sick today and go and do something else instead.
Yeah, so really what had happened is that you were completely out of alignment, weren't you?
Yeah, and I didn't realize I was that. I thought I was living the life of Riley. I was on purpose. This was what I was meant to do. But it was the adversity that showed me that I was completely out of alignment with my true core values. And so that's one thing that I wanted to capture for other people. I wanted to say, okay, people spend their whole life trying to find their purpose. I want to create a tool, something that people can use and just immediately go, what's my purpose? Oh, that's what it is, and align themselves. And it actually doesn't have to be as hard as people make out. The amount of consultants I see that say, well, it's going to take us 6 months, it's going to take us 2 years to find your purpose. Rubbish. You can do it in 10 minutes.
No, definitely. I mean, you and Nyasha have a totally different story in terms of finding your purpose, don't you?
Yes, I think I was born with my purpose. It's just, yeah. Yeah, it, you know, Michelle's story is just incredible in that it took something like a tsunami to really start reflecting. And as I said, I think I was born with my purpose. I've always liked children. From my first memory is always me with babies. Until today, I love babies. I love children.
But there was a turning point for you, wasn't there? Because, you know, you actually started studying a chemistry degree as well.
Yes,
so.
Yeah, completely. And I was doing my PhD at Imperial College, and my tutor is, I was doing it part-time. I had a job in a surgery where I was working with children, and I was doing volunteer work with children. And I just used to talk to him about what I was doing during the week. I used to go once a week. And he said, oh, Nyasha, you just light up when you're talking about children. Why don't you train to become a social worker? I'm thinking, what's the matter with me doing I was going to be this wonderful academic. Anyway, and that was it, really. I never looked back. He gave me 3 numbers of universities which he knew, which I could train to become a social worker or a psychotherapist. And honestly, I've never looked back. He really saw my purpose.
Yeah.
But it's quite, in terms of finding your purpose, you can be quite distracted, but ultimately, and I think Michelle was distracted with the company, but ultimately it came back to your values again.
Yeah, definitely, it did. So,
and I think if I really do think that it's so destroying. For me, sort of my idea of hell, to remain unaligned with your purpose or your values. I think it's so. I mean, I wouldn't want to do something I don't enjoy every day,
Can I ask,
just to pay the bills, and you know what I mean. That people who are stuck in there.
Can I just ask, for those people that don't know what you do, can you just put it in a nutshell in terms of why I think you're an angel?
For me to ask what I do.
yeah,
Oh, I do. I think I see myself very much as a serious social entrepreneur. I always look at a social problem and I turn it into enterprise and look for outcomes for children. And I've done, I've set up the first therapeutic children's home for children with behavior difficulties. And then I've set up a fostering agency, which started in my kitchen table in London. and now it's a national agency. There's so many things I've set up. I've got a therapeutic farm where I work with young people with learning difficulties in Oxfordshire, and I'm setting up this social impact investment fund for women entrepreneurs to access money, capital to grow their business. There's just so many things I'm doing, and I'm writing a book at the moment, my second book on scaling for good. Yeah, there's just so many things, but the thing I'm interested in, which really why I do the podcasting, is talking to other people who are really making such a big difference in other people's lives. That's what interests me. What I do, what other people do, which makes difference to their lives and to other people's lives.
It's not for the faint-hearted though, Nyasha, is it? Let's face it, because
No.
like any business, it comes with challenges, and especially what you do comes with quite a few challenges, doesn't it? In being able to find the resources to help people.
Yes, it's very challenging, but I'm quite a resilient and quite determined person. And I don't take no's lightly. I always go back and say, how can I make that no to a yes? So,
I mean, it's an extraordinary story, isn't it? How you actually managed to find your first house to have your foster children in.
yes.
So tell everybody about that. That's just so amazing.
Yeah, oh God, this must have been about, goodness me, it must be 37 years ago. Goodness, I can't remember now. Before my daughter was born. And she's 36, and I was looking for my first therapeutic children's home in South London. So I put in an advert in the local press, and I had 54 landlords reply to my message. And I went to 24 houses and to look at this lovely building, the house, I wanted a 6-bedroom house to set up this children's home. And I went to everyone. And the last one, I said, oh, I'm just gonna go. I've just been made redundant from Camden. I didn't have any money. And these properties were 2,500 per month to rent it out. And they wanted another 2,500 for a deposit. And I said, I'll just go and see the property. And the last one, I said, this is the last one I'm going. This is just silliness. I'm wasting everybody's time. I don't have the money to rent this property. So anyway, the last one, I said, this one I'm going to last. Anyway, I went, this guy was just talking to me, and I didn't realize he was listening. He said, what do you want to use this property for? And I said, I'm going to look after 6 children in the care system with behavior problems, and it's going to be a therapeutic home. And I think it took about 5 minutes while I was walking through his house. He was just showing me his house, beautiful house. And at the end of it, I gave him my flyer. I'd written, that was before computers and typing things, handwritten flyer about what I wanted to do. And he said, oh, do you know this property? I need £5,000 from you. You name it. And I said, I don't have £5,000. I've just been made redundant, but I really want to do this. And I didn't think of it. He left and he didn't give me his answer. And then 3 days later, he phoned and he said, oh, I've spoken to my wife. We really love what you're going to do with the property, your purpose. And I must have touched your own nerve. So he said, Nyasha, you can have the property for 3 months for free. No rent, no deposit. Just unbelievable.
Oh, that's amazing.
And that took me, altogether, that conversation, I think, was 10 minutes.
Yeah, there's lots of people in the room tonight, Mark and Rowley and Jackie Handy and Rose Murphy, who are all saying, wow, that is amazing, Nyasha, in all of the people in the room as well.
Yeah, and I also think when you're so purpose-led, other people buys into your purpose, buys into your values. And again, you need to, in terms of team building, you need to really build your team with people who are aligned with your values. Because again, this alignment is so important.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, making sure that, you know, you can keep going as well, because you've got to have the inspiration around you, haven't you?
Yeah.
Because, you know, as I said, it's not an easy job, is it, being an entrepreneur? And I know most people in house tonight are entrepreneurs, so
Yeah.
one of the most difficult things to do. So yeah, definitely.
Shall we open up the room to a couple of questions, seeing as we're going to lose Dave
Yes.
soon? I know that Jackie hasn't got an awful lot of time as well. Mark's got an itchy bum because he's just Tigger and he won't be able to sit still for long. So,
Mark, what would you like to ask?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for going through and explain, but both of you for explaining your stories. I mean, yeah, like I said, I'm in awe. It normally makes me tongue-tied, but nah, that doesn't work. My question is, in a world full of pain, suffering, and things that are going on, how do you maintain that resilience? What are your coping mechanisms? What do you do for fun?
I walk. I like walking. I like you know, growing sweet potatoes, African beans or whatever in my greenhouse. I also like traveling. It gives me a perspective. And but what really motivates me and what keeps me going is the whole purpose. Why am I, you know, on you know, why am I waking up in the morning, and you know, what am I thinking or doing? And for me, I wake up every morning to learn something new, to make a difference to somebody's life. And if those things are I'm not going to make any difference, I think I wouldn't get up. It's just knowing that me getting up and making the call or visiting someone is going to make somebody else smile. It's such a motivator. And sometimes when you get distracted and think, you know, you go down an alleyway where you shouldn't be, and you start thinking, oh, this is just such hard work. I always want to come back to my why. And once I, you know, get in touch or remind myself of my purpose, it gives me that energy to carry on, especially when you've had so many no's and you're feeling a bit disheartened.
We live off those no's, don't we? Because it makes us more
and
determined for the yes.
They just give you another energy to, yeah.
I have to say,
sorry,
sorry, Ali, I'm just going to butt in because there are a couple of people in the chat room that I know. Olga is on her walk at the moment. She's walking alongside a river. Gosh knows where she is because she's so cosmopolitan. She could be anywhere. Madeline Black, who's probably in Scotland, is off walking at the moment, so that's why their cameras are off. Jackie Handy actually just walked the Camino, so she was walking for days, months. And she hasn't stopped. I don't know if she's actually stopped still, has she? 536 miles.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
I walked
she's also asked
the length of River Thames, 206 miles a few years ago. I walked so many miles. Every 2 weeks in July, I use that time to walk to fundraise for my charity.
Yeah, and as for me, I know that there's lots of things I know how to fill my bucket up because I've done my Essence profile and it tells me if this is your core value, these are the kind of things that you can do to fill your bucket. So I will go out and take photographs and get out in nature, and those are the kind of things, or be with people. Those are the things that fill my bucket. But I think the bigger question is, when there is so much evil in the world, how can you keep so positive and keep doing things that are all about the good when you know there's so much evil in the world? And my simple answer to that is that I think that you have to flood out the evil. I don't pretend. I don't live in a unicorn and butterfly land. I know that there are evil people out there. I know that there are evil things going on. The way that I think is that you just have to flood out the bad with more love and more goodness and more, you know, more humanity. The more that we can give, the more the porridge pot will overflow. I have to believe in that.
Yes, you really, for you to remain safe, sane and safe, you really need to believe in that, because you can just get so overwhelmed with it. that you started, asking, what difference would I make? The world is just so horrible.
But you always say, don't you, Nyasha, that it's, if you make a difference to one person's life, you've made a difference, haven't you?
Yes, definitely.
Are we going to lose Dave now? Because it's 6:30. Dave, are you going to go?
You're going to lose me in a moment, but I do have a question for both of you, actually, which is, given what you know about each other now, Nyasha and Michelle, what advice would you give each other in order to kind of help you take what you're doing even further?
Well, that's a really good question, because the one thing that I've said to Nyasha since meeting her is we have to get together, we have to collaborate. So we're waiting to do that. We're waiting to sit down, have a meeting and say, what have I got that you haven't got, and what have you got that I haven't got that can make each other's world better?
Yes. We've got we're so aligned, and but we also need to find what our gifts are and what we can give each other. For me, it's about collaboration. I'm just so looking forward to that. And what exactly Michelle said, I really totally agree with that. And and also it's quite, I quite like doing the interviews, and it's so lovely, it's so affirming to meet somebody who's so aligned and thinking the same way as you. It sort of validates you that, oh, actually what I'm doing is worth doing. I'm not the only one who's thinking about this. There's other people up there.
I am lucky in the fact that I have some of those beautiful people in this room tonight, Leon and Dave and Mark and Olga and Jackie and Liz, and Madeline, the list goes on. These are all beautiful people. And what I found is that actually the more you own that value, the more you do that, the more you find the right people come into your life.
Yes.
And this is what you do, Michelle, really well. I think there's something in the Facebook group today, which the PSA Facebook group we're talking about, which I've got in and dropped a story in from 2019, which is when I got up at one of the family business practice meetings and did a 10-minute talk on values, only to have Michelle stand up about 10 minutes later and then drop her behavior thing in, and me sit down and go, why did I even bother? And then Michelle being absolutely lovely and writing a couple of words down in the back of my book. And she said, don't look at the back of your book. We'll do your profile soon. And the words she'd written down in the back of the book were pretty much spot on to exactly what came out in my profile. And that was the point where I realized she was a witch. And she was a good witch, and everything was good. And it's been beautiful to see how much she supports me, and I love that, and I know that she does that to everyone. So it's a beautiful thing. I'm truly grateful to you, Michelle Mills-Porter.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Now I've got to go, so I've got to run off now and go and see my little ones. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.
Hi, Olga. I know you've got a question. Is it for Michelle?
Well, actually, hello, I'm in the darkness, but I'm on my walk. Hello, everybody. I actually wanted just not to ask a question, but to say something about when we make impact in just one person's life. We keep saying that, but think about it, we never make impact. To change somebody else's life. Now, that person will go back home and they have a husband, a wife, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or whatever, and they impact those people's lives. They have parents that will surely will start behaving differently with them, and so with friends.
Olga, you might need to turn your video off.
When we think it's only one person's life, it's a domino effect.
Yeah,
definitely. It's a ripple effect. You might think you're touching.
Sure. Let me just turn the video on. There we go. Can you hear me now?
Much better. Yeah,
that's better.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's never just one person. It is always a ripple effect. So whenever people say, as long as they can impact one life, I'm like, that's not going to happen. I have bad news for you. You're going to impact the community. You're going to impact the whole village. You're going to impact the whole family and clan of family and generations. So that's what the work we do. Even when we have low days, when we have lack of, motivation or whatever, it's always about, let's think about those generations. that we can help, because today we're going to get up and we're going to do our work, and we'll do it from the bottom of our heart. So
Yeah.
sorry, it was not a question,
Yeah,
but I just
thank
wanted
you.
desperately to add that to the conversation.
Yes, definitely. It's really worth, and we forget actually, when we're thinking on that person we're helping, we really do forget this ripple effect that it impacts a lot of other people.
But that is the point of your podcast, isn't it?
Yes.
Because you call it the ripple effect, because what you're saying is it's billionaires, but it's not because we're billionaires. We're not pretending to be billionaires. It's because we're reaching billions of people. Jackie seems to be quite, I think she's posted this question twice. Should we answer her? Because I'm a little bit scared of Jackie. So we better keep her happy.
Like it.
Oh, hang on. Have there been times when you felt your values were compromised, yet you still had that strong purpose? If so, how did you push through? Yeah.
Well, I've got an immediate answer for that, Jackie, and I'm really sorry this is boring. It's always going to go back to the 20 years worth of work I've done. But what I've done in terms of understanding values, my work on values goes back to our core driving forces, which is slightly different in terms of the fact that I try and recognize that these are formed in our formative years, our early years, and therefore it's due to our culture surrounding our caregivers, all of that influence, that external influence, while we're still developing outside of the womb, and they have an imprint on us, and they kind of shape our belief as we grow and move forward. So for me, understanding that somebody has a completely different core driver, if we don't call it value, it's easier, if they have a different core driver to me, then that's because of their experiences, their background, their religion, their upbringing, and that is valid. And if I can believe that theirs is valid and mine is valid, and we can meet in the middle, then it just takes all that all of that tension away. So I have to change the whole word from values. If you look at Stuart and I, my husband and I, completely opposite. And yes, we would vote differently. If we had a bag of chips, I'd have only salt, he'd have only vinegar. Absolutely, completely different on everything. And that goes for our values as well. But we've made it work because we actually love each other. And if you can love other people and respect other people, you can make it work, even if the values are completely different. It's a really, really big subject, Jackie, but that's my two penneth in a shot. Yes.
And yes, but the compromising, I always say, what is an ordeal in terms of trying to compromise your values, and knowing I think for me it's about having a very true identity about who you are and what you want to do, for no matter what. It's very important. So, and also knowing what you can compromise on and what you want to compromise on. So I haven't really struggled with having to compromise my values, because I'm very clear what I won't compromise on.
Yeah, and I guess that's a really good point actually for me, because if Stuart is adamant about something and it doesn't, and I'm not comfortable with it, sometimes I'll say, okay, you can have that one. I'll do something that's uncomfortable, but I've got one in the bag, and next time it's my turn.
Yeah,
what do you think, Jackie? Can you hop on audio or not? If you can't, that's okay. But it'd be nice to hear from you.
I can briefly. It's all right. It's half time on the football. I'm so sorry. Dinner is being served imminently. But I mean, I agree with you, Michelle. It's such a huge subject, right? And you as well, Nyasha, to say around, it very much depends on what's being compromised, right? Because of course we're all kind of made up of our experiences, our culture, our heritage, all those kind of things come together. And actually, as you state there, Michelle, people with different values or drivers can actually find that way forward to work together. And I suppose if we look for positive intention, I think that's important. And I know sometimes we talk about intention and impact are two different things. But I think when in this subject, where we can find positive intention, then actually, even if two people are coming, or more people are coming at something from different angles, they can find that way forward together, and find a common ground, which helps people move forward. And I think that's really beautiful when that happens. So I guess that's my 2 cents, but it is a big subject.
Yeah, it's very important to think about the intention. And I know myself, when I'm trying to help, or when I find myself that I've upset somebody, or I've said something maybe which clashes with their own values, the way I get round it is that it's coming from a good place, good intention. I didn't say it or do it or whatever I did up to upset them from a bad place. And that normally keeps me going, because sometimes you can get really quite overwhelmed, especially as women in particular. We want to always please other people. And what keeps me going is that it was from a good place. I wasn't coming from it from a bad place. So it keeps me motivated. But if it's intentionally, intentionally harm somebody or intentionally upset somebody, that doesn't feel good.
Yeah, thank you. That's a really lovely response, and thanks for asking me on.
Yes.
Oh, I've told them all about you, Jackie. Just you wait, they're going to get you on the show.
If it's good, it's all true. If it's bad, it's all a lie.
Oh, no, that's good. So Olga, did you have another question, or have you just got your hand up? I was just,
She's got a hand. She's got a
Just
hand.
think she's got her hands up.
Oh, sorry, I did not realize. Yes, I forgot to lower my hand. No, apologies.
right.
That's it. I put my hand
Just
down now.
thought you had another
Sorry.
question. So
No.
So is there any more questions? So Michelle, I've got a question for you. What is your legacy then?
Oh, my legacy is going to be the whole suite of analysis tools that I've created. I want people to talk about my analyses in the way that they talk about, William Alton Marsden's work or Carl Jung's work. I mean, that would be phenomenal. It's not for the fame. I want people to say what the lessons that Michelle learned after the tsunami and translated into something that helped me and help me understand myself, or help me find fulfillment, or help me get through stress or get through trauma. Just something that says those tools were really useful. That's the only thing that I need. I don't have, the ability to have children was taken away from me during the tsunami. I haven't got anything that I can pass on to anyone else. So that's it. I want my work to make a difference. And if that can be that part of humanity evolved a tiny bit, just to understand that we actually don't need to share values in order to get on, or whatever it might be, then that would be it.
Yeah.
Mark, you've got a question.
Well, it was really a follow-up to what Michelle said. So Michelle, I appreciate what you said, but you actually do mother and mentor a lot of people. You help so many people. Well, you've helped me. I mean, with what I've been doing, and I'm truly grateful. So please don't think that that's been taken away from you, because you're such a beautiful, motherly, caring person that mentoring is just wonderful. So please don't think that's taken away, because it hasn't been. And I'm truly grateful for what you do.
That is
I will
so
second
lovely.
that, actually. I will second that, Michelle. I mean, I
Yeah.
haven't really known you that long, but since I have, I do feel you're like my mother.
Don't age me, please, Ali. I know that Leon is busy at the moment. I think he's dancing with his wife. I think it's date night. He's a little bit of a mover. But Leon will chip in and say, we had a conversation the other day, and I told him something that I very rarely tell people, some very personal stuff about my journey with not being able to be a mom. And he said, that's why you have so much love to give. And he's right.
Yes.
If I had children,
Yes.
I probably wouldn't give a damn about any of you. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely.
Oh, that
Lovely.
is lovely.
No, I do have a lot of love to give. I love people, that's part of my neurodiversity, is the fact that I feel very deeply, and I am not afraid of saying love, and I love every single one of my friends without a shadow of a doubt. No problem saying that.
No.
That's amazing. That really is. Yeah. I mean, it's people that make up your life. Your
Yes.
friends, as I always say, are like your, the family that you got to choose. I think, don't you?
Yes.
Hello.
A young person has just come through.
Oh.
What a beautiful face.
I'm babysitting my grandson. And he thinks this is a lovely conversation to join.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Definitely. So has anybody got any other questions that they'd like to ask?
We haven't heard
Yeah,
from.
I'll ask a question, but I don't know if you can see me because I'm in the I don't know if you can even hear me or not.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Stop driving. So this goes to both of you, I suppose. How do you remain laser focused on your purpose and not get distracted with the shiny, irrelevant stuff, irrelevant, shiny opportunities that come up that don't feel your purpose, but you feel like you've got to say yes to? How do you stay laser focused?
Okay, you must be asking Nyasha, Liz, because you're definitely not asking me.
Yes, I always go back to my purpose in life and what I'm trying to achieve. I'm quite focused that way. And the other thing about it is to be aware when you're distracted. Because sometimes we actually don't know that we've gone off the track, and to keep coming back to what your purpose in life is. And as I really do think that sometimes we have that blind spot, we're not aware that we've actually going for the shiny objects, we've moved away. And there's also pressure from the, I don't know, this social media, peers, competition, that they must be doing something different, so let me try. And it's not authentic to yourself. And I always know, that it's quite hard not to be authentic, and it uses up a lot of energy because you're trying to attract these shiny objects which doesn't really exist, and you don't know what their drive is. You don't know what drives them to have the shiny objects. You know what I mean? And you're copying something you don't really understand. And for me, I think you need to have a great awareness. That's part of the, when I'm always talking about if people are having because I'm psychotherapist background, if people are having a mental health problem, the part of their recovery is their awareness.
Yeah.
I think my 2 pence on that, Liz, is that you are like me. I know you. You love shiny bling, and so do I. Get a mentor or a mastermind group, and they will drag you back. Be you. Enjoy the bling. Don't worry about it. Just have someone that can bring you back on track if you need to.
Yeah.
Jackie's got another question. Jackie, what do you want to ask?
Yeah, thank you. I'm making the most of the of half time on TV. So Nyasha, you mentioned just there about the blind spot, and it got me thinking about Johari's window, and
Yes,
how
yeah.
we've all got a blind spot, etc. And I'm really curious as to what you both see as perhaps that hidden potential. Or so what do you think your hidden potential is, or what would you like to think it is? So it's a little bit different to the legacy question, but actually, what do you think you'd like to think was still possible for you in terms of building on your achievements already?
I still have got that hidden ambition. My mission in life is to end poverty in every sense and inequality. And I still feel, I need to put a dent on that, if part, not on my legacy, but my ambition of what I could still do. I still got enough love in me. And besides, you know, so many years of working in this sector, trying to make an impact, I still got that hope. It's almost like a hope, isn't it? It's a hope which keeps me going.
Yeah, and I think my answer is the fact that I know what I want to be doing. I have got so many ideas. I'm never short of ideas. The creation is always flowing, and I always have a new analysis. I've just designed one for children to be able to navigate their relationships in early years. So they don't have to go through a lot of the heartbreak they do. They can understand how other people perceive them. I've written one that identifies neurodiversity in a very gentle and empowering manner. And it shows people, you know, you've got superpowers. That means that you might want to check this out. And so I'm constantly doing that. What I know is that I need to get people in the business to take over the general running of things and the general building of the, you know, the practitioner family and all that kind of thing, so that I can be free to do that. So it's always a question of evolving and evolving, and I'm only just starting, Jackie.
Definitely.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you both. Thank you.
Okay, any more questions? I finally got my camera back, guys, and it's getting towards the end. So hello, it's been a whole evening of technical issues, isn't it?
I would love to hear from Madeline or from Leon if either of them are free. Is Madeline working out? Do you know what? I've seen Madeline do some exercises. She does bar, what's it called? Bar crunches, you know, the raises. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. She can do millions of them. She's just like, oh, incredible. Pull-ups, I can't do one. Cannot do one.
Do one, never mind million. I can't do one either.
No, definitely. So anybody got any questions?
Hi,
Hello,
Sunny.
everyone. Hello.
Hi.
I'm sorry, I've been doing daddy duties in the background, and yeah, I didn't want to see you. I didn't want you to see me running after my little 2-year-old. So I was like, camera off and the mic. But my name's Sunny. I am a consultant who works with social impact entrepreneurs. Hence why I've been working with Nyasha. And I do have a question, but I also have, I think we should announce some really good news. I don't know if you guys have been told already, but I'm going to leave that to Ali and Nyasha. We've got some exciting plans coming up for her Impact for Billionaires. But my question would be, and this is for the benefit of people watching afterwards, actually, especially the younger crowd, which I hope they do watch. But what advice do you both have for anyone who is maybe leaving university or has aspirations, or like Nyasha, you said, feels it in their bones since they've been young and they know that they want to make an impact in the world in a positive way? What advice would you give them?
Well,
that's the both of you.
Thank you. These are that's definitely a field I work in. I've been working with Employability UK for about 5 or 6 years now. I've been dealing with Birmingham City University and Coventry Building Society, lots of people that actually take people straight from school and put them on graduate programs. So what I tend to do with those people is I help them understand what really truly drives them, so that they're not chasing something that they think is going to fulfill them, or they think their mom or dad wants them to do in order to satisfy other people's needs. So I try and connect them with the fire in their own belly and just set them free and allow them to take their own path. That's the thing that gives me joy in my heart.
Yeah, that's really important too.
Yeah.
For people, young people, there's so much peer pressure, family expectations, culture, whatever it is. We're just born with all this baggage when you're young, and also you're quite vulnerable, because when you're young, you don't really know what you don't know. So for you to, I would say really, for the young people to really listen to themselves. I always listen to my intuition, what my gut feelings tells me. If something doesn't feel right, I don't do it. And I've always had it since as a child. I've always worked with my intuition.
Gut feelings are very important though, aren't they? Both of you.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, your gut feeling is simply your body going, hello. It's triggering you. It's, we've kind of that's kind of been proven. I say it like it's science. It's been proven, it's in textbooks. Yeah, it's just whatever, just listen to it.
Absolutely. Right, Leon, I think you've got a question now, haven't you?
Hi, yeah. Sorry, I'm driving, but I'm on hands-free, so it's fine. Michelle, in terms of, so I know your profile, and I've experienced your profile, and a lot of people on the call have, in terms of just helping people understand what drives them, what motivates them, and kind of where they need to go for the purpose. I'm curious from a point of view of, when was the moment that you realized you had something special with your profile, that you realized, like, oh, wait a second, this is missing from the world? Like, there was obviously a moment that really excited you about it. I'm just curious to know the story of how that came about.
Yeah, thank you for that question. It's a really interesting one, Leon. There was a point when suddenly it made sense and excelled at a rapid pace. And that was because I'd been involved in human behavior and learning everything I could about the way that we behave and the way that we behave in front of others, and how other people perceive us and how we change our behavior. And it was all about the how we change, how we do this, it's all the how. Nobody was answering the why. And it was only when I suddenly started to understand our motivations that it suddenly gave me the why. I was always searching, yeah, but why? Yeah, but why? Where does that come from? Who am I? And it was only when I actually delivered Essence, when I created Essence, first of all, it was just like I did it on myself, and I thought, oh my gosh, that answers all my questions. Now I understand me. Now I understand my why. And then again, there was another, I was alpha testing it and beta testing it, and it got to the stage where I thought, this can't be. Everyone's coming up with the same results as me. So I've weighed this. I've weighed the questions incorrectly, because all of my close friends who are doing this for me have got the same profile. That can't be right. So I said, Stuart, come and do this profile. And you know that my husband's the opposite of me. He came in, sat down, did my profile, completely opposite to me. And I was like, woo, it works. And from there, that was it then. From then on, I knew this is so powerful. And don't get me wrong, although it talks about our motivations and everything, this tool has saved marriages and caused people to propose to each other as well. It is so, so powerful. It really is.
Fantastic.
No. Better than the FBI.
Lovely. So Madeline, did you want to ask a question, or did you?
I'll turn my machine down so you can hear me. Running while I've been listening. Not really a question, just an observation that you're just both coming from your heart, and that's really what it's all about to me. You've had the journey, you've had the personal experience, but it's not just you've had the personal experience, it's what you're now doing with it. And that's, just obviously resonates with me, because we can turn our pain into purpose, or whatever you want to call it, and just serve other people. And that's, it's just really beautiful what you're both doing. That's what I want to say. So it's very hard to talk and run a 5K as I'm speaking to you. I'm calming my chest down here. But yeah, that's just what I want to say. I just see, all the beauty in the work that you're both doing, all of everyone that's doing that's on here. So yeah, I just wanted to thank you.
Thank you, Madeline. One of the reasons that I wanted to introduce you into this group is because you are one of those people with a beautiful heart, and you are going to get on with these women so well. So thank you for being here.
I can speak now, slow down.
Oh, lovely. Well, good luck with the workout.
Sorry, I wasn't here on camera all the time.
Oh, brilliant. So yeah, I'm impressed that you can do that and talk at the same time.
I normally go out in the morning.
Multitasking.
My husband's living with me at the moment. I had to take her to get her car serviced, so I missed my morning run or walk. So I thought I need to fit it in somewhere. So it's an unusual time of the day for me to be doing this. But my dinner's waiting for me downstairs, so I shall be getting a shower soon of my dinner. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. So
Thank you for inviting me.
Appreciate it. So yeah.
Can't wait for your episode with Madeline. She's going to blow your minds. She really is. The story's amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, So yeah.
So I think Rose is the only person now that's not asked a direct question.
Rose, would you like to ask a question, hon?
Hello. There's no specific question, but my goodness me, what powerful women you are. I mean, it's just so amazing to hear your stories and that resilience and, you know, that keep on going attitude that, you know, so many people don't carry on, do they? People give up very easily. I've got the resilience like you two, so I know how hard you work and how keeping that laser focus is so important to doing what you do. So thank you for sharing. Your story is amazing.
Oh, that's really lovely, Rose. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think there's just one thing that I want to say on resilience. I won't say it too loud because my husband's next door. But it was my mum-in-law that we lost just a year ago. And she was the one that taught me that resilience doesn't have to roar. I thought resilience was strong and roar and get up, and it's not. Resilience is not that at all. Resilience is just keep going. That's all. It's like a grass bending in the wind. Resilience is about, and it can be quiet, it can be humble, it can be serene, it really can. So she taught me. She fought cancer for 15 years and I've never known anyone more resilient and more beautiful and graceful about it than she was. And yeah, it really did teach me that resilience does not have to roar.
Yeah, definitely. It can just be passive in the background, just keep going.
What do you do though? That's a good question actually to both of you. What do you do? Because I know that everybody's got different ways of dealing with it. We all have bad days. What do you do when you have a bad day?
What do I do when I have a bad day? I have a day off. I love, if I have a bad day, the things I love doing is I love going out and taking photographs. I love going and having a game of Scrabble with my parents. I make my dad do the counting and my mum plays a Scrabble with me. And yeah, and I spend time with friends and I have hugs and I have, you know, all that kind of stuff. Those are the things that fill my bucket. So if I'm having a bad day, what I've learned is don't try and force your way through it. Don't try and change your mindset, and you just go with it. Just top up your bucket to change the fact that you're having a bad day.
Yeah, I like to just change it. You know, the bad day, do something different, or whatever it is leave it and come back to it later. Come back to it later. Give yourself some time. Go and do something. Go in for a walk. Go, you know, go to your greenhouse, whatever it is nearby. Go and talk to someone. Make a call to your friend and catch up with gossip.
Yeah.
And, you know, really mundane thing. Read a trashy novel. You know, something really just silly. And move away from it, rather than to keep on pushing when it's not working. Even if it's an argument with somebody, you need to remove yourself and come back to it another time, another day, another week.
Yeah, and I think Madeline summed it up actually. This is what I use this analogy myself, Madeline, but I use it about being in flow, which is it's similar, but and my analogy is that it's not something that's designed to be 100% all the time. You can't be. You can't be riding the surfboard 100% of the time. You catch a wave, you ride it, it's brilliant, and then you fall off, and your job is to get back on. And I think that's the same with, you know, when you're having a bad day, just don't expect everything to be perfect 100% of the time. Of course you're going to have bad days. Of course sometimes it's going to be rainy and not sunny. What do? Does that mean that you go back to bed? No, you don't. You just get on with it.
Get on with it.
You never think, oh gosh, I wish I'd chosen a simple life.
Yes. When I think that way, then I will say, oh, I was never set up on this world to do simple.
I have this fantasy, this thing where my head goes, and I'm a little girl and I'm sitting on, God is a guy with a big beard, like Father Christmas. I think I get the two mixed up. And I'm sitting on his knee and he's got a great big long list and he says, right, Michelle, pick, what do you want in your life? I go, oh, I'll have a bit of that. Tsunami, yeah, I'll have one of those. And I I chose it all. So
yeah.
I don't know whether I did, whether I didn't. I mean, it's a little bit flippant what I'm talking about now, but all I'm saying is You know, I love my life being varied. I love my life having drama. I love weather, even tsunamis, you know, as destructive as they can be. They are beautiful, they're powerful, they're cleansing. There's a yin to every yang.
Yeah,
I love that comment actually from Madeline. It says, when you're in it, be present and be in it. Just allow yourself to feel. I think it's the pushing it down that causes issues.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, definitely.
That's lovely. Anyway, we've had a great night tonight, and thank you all for coming. And thank you to Michelle as well for joining us. It's been brilliant. It's just been such a lovely evening, isn't it? Of really sharing stories.
That's what happens whenever I meet up with Michelle. We can carry on for quite a long time, can't we, Michelle? Last time we had to say we had to go. Carried on all evening.
Yeah, we could natter forever. I'm actually surprised that after all the technical issues, Ali didn't just go to the bathroom and flush her head down the toilet.
Did very well. No, fantastic. Such a shame of the other people who couldn't get through, but we enjoyed it the way we were, and still with, you know, I think it's being women again. We just manage with what we've got.
So thank you both of you as well, because you know, it's really good to hear from you. So yeah, we have got lots coming up, haven't we, with Impactful Billionaires? We're launching a magazine next year with all of Nyasha's interviews.
Yes.
So Michelle will be in the magazine as well. So that will be happening in an International Women's Day event in the Reading area next year. So I hope you can all make it. You know, women and men. It doesn't necessarily have to be women. Although, you know, there is something about women.
I'm not Ali. I'm not doing the centerfold. Okay.
No, you're not.
Not doing the centerfold.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, lovely. Right. So that's what's happening, and it's just, as I said, been amazing to have you all here tonight and sharing the relaunch of Series 7.
Wow.
So
thank you very much.
Yeah,
thanks everyone for taking time to come and join.
You who came on today. So I would love to keep in touch.